It started out in college. I was a plasma donor. And I remember sitting in the hard blue chairs in the lobby, with 100 of my closest friends. And I did that, for a period of time, for a semester or something. And at the same time, I was also an EMT. So I had a little bit of a medical background, and they were hiring for somebody with that license. So I fell in love with the business. I had pretty much every job in a plasma center. I was a phlebotomist. I was a donor screener, I was a plasma processor, and I remember just the hustle and bustle of it was really fun to me, but it is a really hard job. I from there, I moved into management positions. I oversaw a geography of collection centers from both an operations and a quality regulatory standpoint. And then the company that I was working for, there was this large acquisition, and I moved into more of a leadership role on the regulatory and quality side of things. It's kind of during that time that I realized that being in a very large company was not for me. Until one day I was tapped on the shoulder. This guy I had connected with on LinkedIn. He said, hey, I have this idea to bring the paid donor model from plasma into a different space. I said, okay. We went out, raised some money, and then I left my employer to go to this startup, that who knows, it might not have worked out. At the same time, we were having these conversations about, the pandemic had just hit and plasma was constantly in shortage. Plasma donors, were not coming out at the same levels they had before, even though these plasma companies were offering really high dollar for the donor. And, it was very evident to me that it's not just about the dollar for the donor, and it's about the experience. It's about the employee experience, and how the donors are treated at the center. And we view ourselves as fierce donor advocates. And I see in this industry a lot of times we're talking at donors instead of to donors and with donors. So, we're telling them, hey, we're going to give you, X amount of dollars for your donation. But we're not asking them hey, what's really important to you? What's going to cause you to come back more frequently, or for you to bring your friends and family? Think about the environment that you're sitting in, right? So a lot of these, I talked about the cold, hard plastic chairs in the lobby earlier, or the line that snakes around the lobby, that the donors are all standing in. And, we're not going to have that. You're going to come in, you're going to get right in, and you're going to know exactly where you're going and have this more intimate, seamless plasma donation experience that's going to leave you feeling proud of what you do, but also the environment that the donor's in. You get to sit there in a spa-like environment, on your terms, watch whatever you want to watch or listen to whatever you want to listen to, and then get out of there, so because you don't have all day. I realized that when I was working at the very large company, you had very little control over the employee experience. And that employee experience, these large companies, they have turnover rates of 50, 75, 100% in these collection centers. So there's constantly new faces. There's a constant churn of experienced, tenured employees. So that downstream impact on the donor is very significant, because you're having issues with venipunctures and things like that, and people are always just sort of crabby in these environments. And it's not because there's any bad people working at the collection center, it's because of the way they're treated. Not that anybody's intentionally treating them this way, but when you get so big and you make decisions that are really based on numbers rather than people, then that creates challenges, and that's what happened. So we talk often about work-life balance. That's a term that's thrown around a lot, and we've changed the vernacular a little bit here. We call it work-life integration, and what we mean by that is hey, life happens. You might have to go to a doctor's appointment in the afternoon, or you might be the type of person who you're really good for short, intense periods of time, and then you need to step back and take a break. So as we build out our organization and our culture, we're thinking about those things. And designing a schedule that allows people to, again, be themselves. As we create a culture that's different, and we have engaged employees who are really happy where they're at because they're earning a good wage, They have, a great benefits package, and they have great training, so they're happy. In turn, the donor has a much better experience. As I've progressed through my career, what I've recognized is that, one, you have to be authentic. You have to be true to yourself, whether you're in a leadership position or not, or you're reporting to a leader. And so one of our core values here is bold authenticity, because we feel that if you are not comfortable being yourself, whatever that means, then you cannot be your best version of yourself. And we feel that at Proasis, we're a collection of individuals, and it's that collection of individuals that make us who we are, and that will translate into a better experience for everybody involved. The second one was an intense curiosity. We want to approach the industry with an intense curiosity of questioning, what it is that we do, how we do it, how it's been done in the past, and how it can be done better in the future. Third, we really wanted to focus on the donor, like talking at the donor versus talking with the donor. And so we view ourselves in the industry as fierce donor advocates. And we want to make sure that everything we do translates into that experience for the donor, and treating them in a way that is really engaging and causes them to want to be here, whatever their reason for donating. And then finally, we strive to serve. And that translates to service to our communities, service to our donors, service to our staff, service to the patients, whatever that means to the individual. And we feel that these 4 core values really will define us and will really help to translate this into a better experience for everybody involved. In the end, this was a product that goes to the patients, and it is a life-saving product. It's a quality of life improving product. And without it, patients would not be in the position that they're in today. And it's always threatened by shortages. So that's first and foremost, what has always kept me connected here. But it's the people. Like I've really enjoyed getting to know people from all walks of life, and that's what you get with a plasma collection operation. You see, your employees come from all walks of life, your donors come from all walks of life, and they're very closely tied to communities and the patients. And so, in my life, I've done a lot of work connecting patients with donors. And that's a very moving experience when you see these patients come in who, rely on these treatments, and they come in and they connect with the donor and they thank a donor, everybody's tears start rolling down their face. And it's a really, really moving experience. Regardless of your reason for donating, you are still doing something tremendous.